Hello friends, welcome back. So in the previous video we have seen that how we can implement the basic API, and we have created the model class and also a sealed class, which if you don't know what it is, so you will know it in the subsequent videos as we keep on implementing the functionalities. So in this video we will be creating a use case and a repository class which will be used to call these APIs, and also using this sealed class. So let's get started. So first of all, what we are going to do is we are actually going to create a new package over here. So let's name it as repositories. So we will be using this repository to actually call the data. So let's create a new class over here. So let's name it as data repository. So this will be a class. Okay, so now for calling our API, what we know is let's close all the unnecessary files but keeping this file. What we know is that to call any of the API we need an instance of this API service class. And if you remember that we have already done this, we have created the instance of this API service class using Hilt. So now we'll be seeing that how we can actually use this instance using Hilt library. So in this case we'll be using the constructor injection. So constructor injection is actually used when you want to inject the instance whenever the instance of the demanding class will be created. Like in this case this is our demanding class. So this data repository class is actually demanding an instance of our API service to get started. Okay, so we'll be doing a constructor injection over here. To do that, there is a simple thing. There is an inject keyword. Okay, inject annotation actually. This is also part of our basically JavaX package. So just forget that. So there's an inject annotation. So just type in inject over here after the class name. So you can see it over here. This is not part of Hilt itself, but this is a part of our JavaX package. Okay, so inject. After that we need to call a keyword for constructor. So now this is our default constructor, and we will be using our instance of our API service in this constructor. So just type over here like um, private variable. We'll be using a private variable API service over here like this, and this is all the magic. So now we don't need to define that from where this instance is to be taken out, or like from where our repository class should request this instance. So that we don't need to specify in any way. So this is all the magic of Hilt, but we need to do some additional configuration that I will tell you in the subsequent steps. But this is all for our constructor injection. We can simply specify the inject keyword, and we can inject anything, any instance that we have already defined. Like this instance we have defined it over here, API service. So whenever we'll do the injection of any of the instance, our Hilt library will help us to get the instance and put it over here, provide it to this repository class so that it can use it. So now what we can do is we can simply call these any of the APIs using this API service instance. So as our function name is get public repositories, so let's create a function over here. So let's name it as you can name it as same, but this is not necessary. You can name it as anything, but I am naming it as same, so there isn't any issue at all. Okay, so now we'll be using this API service class instance of API service to call this method. Okay, so this will return an error like this. So the error is that suspend function can only be called through a coroutine or another suspend function. So we can't use a coroutine over a standard class. Means we are not going to use this. We are only going to use the coroutine directly in the view model class itself. So let's create this function as suspend function. So this error will be gone. Okay, so this is all for our repository class, and now we'll be creating another class that is a, you can say it, a use case class. um, so this will be first creating a package named use case. So now let's create a, where it is, yeah, let's create a class. Let's call it as data use case. So this will be a class, and what we need to do is we need to call this function of our repository class from this data class. So obviously then we need the instance of our data repository class in this, you can say the constructor of this class. So but you can see it over here that in this also we have injected a dependency, and we know that this instance we have already defined over here, but we haven't defined anywhere that from where the data repositories instance is generated. So to do that we need to create another module. So let's create a repository module. Okay, so this will be object as same as this network module. Okay, so the basic annotations will also be the same. The first one is the install in annotation, but in this case we'll not be using this application component, because we don't want that instance of this data repository class should stay till the life cycle of application. We only want that this instance should actually stay only till the activity or the fragment is in memory, or is in is in currently visible to the user, or is not in destroyed basically state. So whenever our activity or fragment should get destroyed, so this instance should also be destroyed. And moreover we will be using this in our view model to call these APIs. So we'll not be using the activity instance, but we'll activity component, but we will be using the activity retained component. As I told you in previous videos, you can go there and check. So there I have explained that activity retained components are used for, you can say, calling anything or creating an instance of anything for the view model, let's say. So that these instances are automatically created when we request them, and they are cleared when the view model is cleared. So this will be our activity retained component class. So now the other annotation is our modules annotation. Yeah, so now similarly as we have done over here, we'll be using this provides annotation, and we'll providing the instance of our required class. So let's define this provides annotation and a function, and let's name it as provides provides data, what I am doing, provides data repo. Okay, and we also know that our repository class needs an instance of our API service in the constructor. So we will be defining it over here, API service, and now we'll be creating and returning a instance of our data repository class over here, data repository, and here is our API service. Okay, and the return type will be data repository. So now this will automatically pick the API service instance from wherever we defined it, like here, and it will automatically inject it over here and create an instance of our data repository class and return it. So if this API service instance was not created previously, then if a user if our code requests this instance of this data repository class, then it will search for the code where it need to create the instance of this class, and will check all the dependencies required to create this instance. And firstly it will create all the dependencies, then it will create the instance of our API service, and then it will provide that instance to our data repository class, and then it will serve this instance to our dependent class. Okay, so all this magic is done by the hit library itself, and we don't need to do any manual interaction with this, that these instances to be picked up from here, or first creating an instance you need to create all the dependencies before that or anything. So we need to just define it correctly. So like this. So now we have seen that we have created a data repository instance over here. So now we can use it over here. Now we'll be using a inject annotation and another constructor over here, and define a private variable, and this will be our data repository. Yeah, so now this constructor will be having the instance of our data repository class. So we can now directly use this to call any of the function of this data repository. So in our case we'll be calling this function, and this is a suspend function, so the calling function should also be the suspend function. So let's create a suspend function. Let's create it, let's name it as get repositories list. Okay, like this. So what this function will do is, this function will call this function, which will call this function, and basically we haven't done one thing over here. We need to return the result of this function from, yeah. So now this will call the API, will get the result, like the result will be the GitHub data model inside the GitHub data model data class, and it will return it by this function. The result will be returned by this function. So where, yeah. So now we need to call this function. So let's call let's use this instance and call that function. So we have gotten the result over here. Okay, so now what we will do is, we will first do a null check for this result. So like this. So this is an array, so we'll do a null check for array. So we'll be using this Kotlin extension function is null or empty, and if this is not null or empty, which means it have some data in it and it is not a null type. So in this case what we will do is, we will take a variable for result data. We are now actually going to use this sealed class. Okay, so create a variable named result data, and now what we will do is, we will assign this as result. Now create an instance of result data, and now as I told you previously that we need to define the types, because we are using generic type. So what we need to do is, whenever we'll provide it with some class, like in this case this is returning a data class in itself, like this. Okay, so we'll be providing it with this class, so it we can use any class over here. So if this is like a different API calling a different function and returning a different class, so we don't need to create a different set of these result data, so we can use the single class. So let's use the success function over here and just pass in the result that we got, so like this. So what this will do is, this will automatically take the type of this class and will assign it to this result data class. So this is a very convenient thing that we can use, and in the later steps we will see that why we actually need to create this result data class and why we need to assign such things to it. So now basically this is a kind of state management system, so we'll be managing the states of the result. So like in this case, when this is not null, means it is success, so our data is not empty or null, so which means it is success. So we are assigning the success state to it, which will have this data contained in its. And now in the else section, if this is null or empty, then it means that our API is failed. So in that case what we will do is, we'll copy this, paste it over here, and we'll be using failed as a type. Okay, so the message is not required, but we'll give a message like something went wrong, please try again. Okay, so we are giving this message over here. So this is all. So this is the way we actually are managing the result. but we need to return this result data from this function, but we have created this variable inside this, so it will never return. So let's take this variable outside. So the benefit of Kotlin is that even the if else function can return values. So let's assign this variable over here and simply return this, and similarly delete this from here. No need to return actually, sorry. So basically if this will be if this condition is true, then this result data will be assigned this value, and if this condition is false, then this result data will be assigned this value, and we can simply return this result data over here. So change the result type of this function to result data. So as you can see it over here, then when I alt enter over here and I click here, then you can see that it has already defined the result data with the type of our class which we need to this result data is actually returning. So here we need to define the type actually. So this is the benefit of generic types. Like here I have defined a generic type, so here I have the feasibility or flexibility to define my own types based on my needs. Okay, so this is all for our data class and repository class. So in this video what we have done is we have basically created a repository class where we have injected instance of our API service, and then we have used that API service instance to call that API and getting the result back to our data repository class and returning that result by this function. And then we have created a separate module which will create the instance of our data repository class and provide the API service instance to it. And then we have created a data use case class which will be taking the instance of data repository class in the constructor itself, and it is calling the get public repositories method of this repository, which will return the our final data from the API. And we are doing some transformations over here, like if our repository is not null and empty, then the result is success, otherwise it is failed. We have multiple states, like we can also keep this in try catch, and we can manage the exception in the as a failed as a exception state which we have created over here. So that can also be done. So in this case we are only managing the success and failed state, and we have returned the final result by this function, and we have defined the type of data class which it will be returning. So that's it for these two classes. Now in the next video we will see that how we can use this data use case class in the view model, and how we can call the function get repository list using our coroutines. So stay tuned and we'll see you in next video. Bye bye.